right, everybody, welcome to New Media Patriot Radio, the show about you, the concerned citizen, the silent majority, the politically incorrect, the social media patriot fighting every single day to restore American values and exceptionalism. If you want to visit us on our website, you can go to newmediapatriotradio.com. Also, if you want to be a guest on the show and you want to get your voice heard, you can simply email us at newmediapatriotradio@gmail.com. Also, we are now part of ICRN. It's the new home for Conservative Talk Radio. You can visit them at conservativeradionetwork.com. They have a whole slew of other conservative talk shows on there, so you can check them out. Visit them today, again, conservativeradionetwork.com. If you saw me behind the scenes here trying to get this show ready, I apologize for the late start. I don't have an engineer. I do everything on my own, so please forgive me. I know you will. I am your host, Chris, and welcome to the Silent Majority here on New Media Patriot Radio. So we're going to get right into it because we're running late, and the guest, my first guest that I have on the line, he's got to get going because he is actually covering the Super Tuesday of today. It's kind of like a mini Super Tuesday, but it's important nonetheless. So he's going to be, his name is Bill Mitchell, and he's been amazing on Twitter. Have you seen his Twitter account? I mean, he has such a following there. So let's get right into it. I mean, today's a big day. I mean, first of all, how did you become such a Trump supporter?
I'm knuckling under to the Democrats, and I'm surprised that I haven't broken every TV in my house by throwing my shoes at the TV.
Right.
I'm getting a little bit that echo right now, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. The echo has come back. I'm having some technical issue here. Let's push through. Because
okay,
it's of utmost importance here. What you have to say.
To make a long story short,
sure.
The reason why I like Mr. Trump is because we're not stand up to the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And then here came Trump, a very strong businessman, a man who made a living on competence. And he finally was saying all the things that I've wanted to say for 30 years.
Right.
And it just excited me because it's like, here's a guy that not only has a track record of success, but a man that knows how to say it and knows how to speak truth to power.
Right.
So I became enthusiastic almost immediately, jumped on Twitter, started talking fire. And now, I think tonight I'm going to hit 30,000 followers. My feed hits about 46 million impressions a month. So a lot of folks see him, and it's exciting. It's not just me. If I was talking about what I had for breakfast this morning, nobody would care.
Right. Well,
I'm talking about Trump, and everybody loves Trump. So.
Well, that's just the thing. I mean, I've built my Twitter following just like that. I basically niched it. I built the Twitter, my Twitter account about a year ago, and I said, I want to get my voice heard. I want, I've had other Twitter accounts, personal Twitter accounts. I said, I want to get my voice heard. I want to get out there. So my wife convinced me to get on Twitter, and I did. And again, I niched it into just being a political account. And you're right. If you were just going to, tweet as to what you were doing, throughout the day, it would be kind of boring. But the fact that you've gained such a following on Twitter, they're more willing to know how your day is going because they kind of know you personally through politics.
Well, I think that if you keep it interesting, I kind of got to be known at the beginning as kind of like the polling guy.
Right.
Because I understand polling, and I understand a good poll and a bad poll and how the samples work and that sort of thing. So a lot of folks would see just the top line number of the poll and want to jump off a ledge. And I would go in there and I'd say, no, you got to understand this was wrong with the sample and that and all this. And it really encouraged folks. So I kind of developed my niche there. And I just try to be informative, supportive, a little bit funny sometimes. That's how it works. So.
Okay. Well, I know you're hearing an echo right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick little break here and I'm going to fix the issue. Okay. So we're going to take a quick little break here. We're going to
I can live with it. I'm getting used to it.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah, I'm fine. Okay. Christina, if everybody can hear us, it's fine.
Yeah. Christina's my co-host for the night. Christina, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me here today, Chris.
Sure. And are you hearing an echo as well?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, that's not cool, but it sucks. Do you have so Christina, you follow Bill, correct? You know what he's been doing on Twitter and how he's been such a staunch supporter of Donald Trump. You know who he is?
Yes, I do. Actually, I do. I follow him, and I'm aware of who he is.
Okay, cool. So Bill, What big states are in play tonight? And I know they say that today's not really like a Super Tuesday, but it is kind of. It is going to be
it's
big.
a mini Tuesday. What we're looking at tonight, we've got Michigan, which is a primary. It's an open primary. Mm-hmm. So independents and Democrats can cross over and vote for Mr. Trump.
Okay.
And Trump does very well with crossover voters, which bodes very well. So Michigan's a big state. I think they're like 59. I think would be a Cruz state because I think the exit polls were saying it was like 75% evangelical votes.
Right.
But nationwide, Mr. Trump has been running 2-1 with the evangelicals over Mr. Cruz.
Okay.
And it's probably because Mr. Cruz has a bad habit of playing fast and loose with the truth, and a lot of evangelicals don't like that.
Well, this is what I said on a previous show. I said, my last couple of shows I've been saying this. I said, listen, Ted Cruz, you can't be running as this religious person and then get into the mud slinging. Not only that, but just, constantly lie about the truth. I mean, he's constantly lying. He's stretching the truth. And then he goes on and he goes to preach to his people. And I said it before. I said, people don't want their president to be preached to. They want their president to lead everybody, lead Americans as a whole. They don't want to preach it. If they want to get preached to, they would go to church.
Yeah, and and a man who holds himself forward as being, I think, what did his wife say, that Ted Cruz is God's face to America?
Yeah, his father said.
Which is hard to believe if she actually said that, but she did.
Right. And then you have the Glenn Becks of the world saying stuff like, God basically, something to the effect that the reason why Scalia died was because God wanted for Ted Cruz to become president. Yeah. When you say stuff like that, I think
Glenn Beck is insane.
He's a nut. I think he single-handedly cost him South Carolina.
I tell you what, everybody was talking about that silly thing that came up with the KKK and how Mr. Trump was asked to disavow the KKK like 30 times in a 48-hour period. Crazy. Right. But what Cruz needs to do is he needs to disavow Glenn Beck.
Right. He does.
Because, just the crazy stuff this guy has said is absolutely off the wall.
I think
a guy who holds himself forth as being the God man, in this context,
right?
He's held to even a higher standard.
Right.
So the only thing worse than a liar is a liar who wraps himself in God so you'll believe him.
Yeah, it's a shame because it's a shame. Like I said, he single-handedly cost him South Carolina and a lot of these evangelical votes. You're listening to The Silent Majority here on New Media Patriot Radio, and on the Rebooting Liberty Hotline, I have Bill Mitchell. He is a staunch supporter of Donald Trump. If you check out his Twitter, it's blowing up. Let's talk about Mitt Romney. Here you have a huge failure who has risen back from the dead to bash the Republican frontrunner, Donald Trump. How do you feel about that?
Well, the problem that I have with Mitt Romney is that for the last 3 years, he has sat by silently as Barack Obama has destroyed this country.
Right.
But Donald Trump comes along and says he wants to make America great again, and now all of a sudden Mitt Romney wants to come out and talk about it.
Yeah. It's
you have nothing to say while Obama is destroying America, but while Trump is trying to make it great again, all of a sudden you've got a problem.
Yeah, and I don't get it. I mean, if you think about why he lost because basically he wasn't Donald Trump. He kind of did not want to attack below the belt when it came to Obama because he was afraid. The GOP as a whole was afraid of the losing the minority vote or the Latin vote. They were so worried. They didn't want to swing below the belt. They didn't want to attack him on his connections.
They're far too managed. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want to attack him on his connection with the Black Panther Party, with Bill Ayers, right. with the GD America, Reverend Wright, and this is what cost them. They went squishy and they lost.
Yeah, and I think one of the big problems that Romney had was white blue collar voters.
Right.
They could not relate to him.
Mm-hmm.
And some people comment upon in the first half, if this election was a football game, I think we're kind of at halftime right now. The primaries. Okay. We're kind of at halftime right now.
Explain
the first half of this campaign, I think Mr. Trump created a persona for himself out there that these white blue-collar voters could relate to.
Mm-hmm.
He's a regular guy. Here's it, worth $10 billion. but he comes across them as a regular guy that speaks their language. You know, he gave a voice to their anger.
Right.
And that's been absolutely brilliant. But I think as the second half comes, there's another group we have to get that are the people on the edges that like what Mr. Trump has to say policy-wise, but are uncomfortable with his aggressive persona. So I think that going forward, what we're going to see is much more of a presidential Mr. Trump. I think we're going to see much more of a CEO, Mr. Trump, much more of a boardroom executive.
Right.
And I think we're going to see a lot more focus on policy.
Yeah, well, we did see
not just the anger thing,
right? And we saw Jeff Sessions come out. He came out like maybe a week ago saying that he's talked to Donald Trump about brushing up on being presidential and stuff like that. So he has Jeff Sessions on his back there trying to help him out. And I know you tweeted out earlier today about Donald Trump having to talk more about his papers, more about his policies and stuff like that, so that people know. Yeah. So people start to know about them, because he has a lot of great papers, especially his immigration plan.
They're fantastic.
And his healthcare plan. His
immigration plan, his healthcare plan.
Right.
His healthcare plan is gorgeous.
Right.
I mean, the Obamacare was like this 10,000-page dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Donald Trump has basically solved it in one page.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But we need to get out there. We need to market it. We need to talk to people about it.
I said it before, he needs to memorize those papers and talk about them and just go on TV and just talk about his policy papers. Because if you go to look at, a lot of people don't know he has them. And I have to tell people, listen, go to his website and go check it out. And I think
that he knows them. I think the fact that he hasn't talked about them so far is strategy.
Okay. Explain why.
Because one of the things you've got to understand, I've been in sales for 30 years.
Yes.
And people don't buy logically, they buy emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then once they've made the purchase, then you've got to give them the logic so they don't have buyer's remorse.
Okay.
Okay? And then the first half of this campaign, Trump is at a much more emotional appeal, tapping into that anger.
Mm-hmm.
The vitriol, tapping into that. But now where it has not, and now he needs to fill in the back end with the logic, because people have already bought.
Right.
And now he needs to help them justify so they don't have second thoughts.
Right.
And that's where the policy comes in.
Right. You're listening to
and I think the healthcare plan is absolutely wonderful. I'd love to hear much more about that, about the immigration plan, not just build the wall, but actual specifics about it.
Why
the tax plan? We never talk about the tax plan.
No. Why do you think that is? Why do you think you said it's strategy? But you said it's a buyer's remorse type of thing. But why not give a little hint as to how he's going to make Mexico pay for that wall? I mean, is it because he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers, or is it because he doesn't want anybody stealing his plan? What is it?
Yeah, I'm not sure about their approach on that, because I think that the mistake he's making is that when he says Mexico is going to pay for the wall, he means they're going to write us a check. But what he really means is it's going to come out of their pocket.
Right.
I mean, we control so much of the Mexican economy with the billions of dollars that are sent back from illegals here back to Mexico every year,
right,
with various tariffs,
okay,
foreign aid, support, that sort of thing.
Right.
I mean, Mexico doesn't have to write a check. All we need to do is cut those things off and use that money for the wall, and Mexico pay for the wall.
Exactly. That's what that's what everybody was talking about. They said, why do we keep sending them money if we keep taking their people? We're sending them money so they can improve people's lives down there, and they're not doing it. What are they doing with the money? Who knows? Let's stop sending it, and let's stop paying for the wall. But you're listening to The Silent Majority here on New Media Patriot Radio on the Rebooting Liberty Hotline. I have Bill Mitchell. Bill, in closing, who do you think is going to win big tonight? I know you're a big Donald Trump supporter, and I know you said Donald Trump is going to win big. But who do you think is going to come in second? And do you think that Rubio, do you think that this is the last